easy. You can do it. Remember that letting them go doesn't mean you've forgotten them. It just means you've come to terms with their death, and one day you'll get to see them again. Was the void there before the universe? Oh no. Really makes my brain hurt. It's like asking, why does anything exist at all? Theoretically, the universe has always existed, but why it's there, who knows? That's like a chicken and egg question. You'll never know the truth. I believe the void was there before the universe, and it will be there after the universe as well. There's no real evidence on what the void is, just that the universe is expanding, so it must be going somewhere. Your question comes next. The first question is, if the void is not matter and is not antimatter, if such a thing is possible, then it's nothing, and so it's always been there and always will, because it's emptiness. Initially, there was the void and the fundamental. From the latter sprang the infinity of universes dislodging the former, cannot be destroyed, and presently resides within my head, alongside the myriad. Can therapy really fill the void? I know what can fill your void. 6 firemen. Nice one, Gabby. Therapy is of a great help for all people, but it is not an ultimate solution. Therapy, whether it is physically based, such as massage, as in deep breath therapy, such as rebirthing, or Reiki-based therapies, or psychologically based, too many varieties, or spiritually based, such as Reiki, all help your overall sense of wellness. We are insane as it is. There is insanity all around. So this insanity disguises itself as normality. So one seeks elsewhere, and there is only the void. Looking into the void, one encounters another type of insanity, a personalized one born out of all that one has become inwardly. The one being too much. The other insanity is readily available. The short gap in the transfer from one insanity, yes, but bubble wrap is cheaper. However, the void cannot be avoided. Only meditation will help you become comfortable with the void, because only in the silence of meditation can you go into the void and return. Get familiar and comfortable being in the gap. In addition to any therapy that you choose, of meditation, especially the Buddhist or Osho forms of meditation techniques. This viewpoint is based on my personal and professional experience of therapy and meditation for 27 years. www.osho.com. No, it's not there to fill a void. It's there to help you figure out what you're missing. It's not there to fill a space in your day, because you don't have anything better to do with your time. It's there for people to learn more about themselves and how to make better choices. Only in America. The void you're trying to fill. I'm in therapy for post-traumatic stress. I'm trying to learn to cope, but getting over what has happened to my life will never fully happen. For some, it can leave you out of pocket too, I suppose. It isn't intended to fill the void, only make you realise that there is no void. I thought I had a full void, but it turns out I had just overeaten. If staring into the void may make us insane, why do we still wish to do it? the reason for Nietzsche's madness? Hot dogs with coleslaw and plenty of barbecue sauce. Volunteer your time to a worthy cause, helping fix houses for the elderly that can't do repairs on their own anymore, disabled, etc. Helping others in need is a great way to fill the void, and it strokes the feel-good in you as well. Sit at home with lots of ice cream, preferably mint choc chip, and watch old movies like Casablanca until you get really sick and decide that you're sick and tired of being sick and tired. I can fill any void. In the void, the awareness shines, or outward. As awareness refines and increases inwardly, the human being fills with light and becomes luminous to all about. Some recognize the quality of light, some only know that they are drawn to it mysteriously. The micro of us contains the macro of the void, as above, so below. So I'm thinking the void is filling with more light of awareness as awareness grows. Outwardly and inwardly are only apparent contradictions after all. To perceive anything as shining inwardly or outwardly requires a perspective to view it shining, an awareness. Thus, we are asking the object of illumination itself, the awareness that shines, to perceive in and of itself. The vastness of the human intellect impresses me. So does the strength of an ant. It's still a product of evolution, highly fragile with severe limitations. Many great writers have been over these questions, and some even get stuck on the absurdness of it all. Nietzsche's lack of faith is also a factor. It's hard not to have anything as a basis for faith. We know we are going to die, and we know that our loved ones are going to die, and that's the tragedy. Your life and all the wonderful things that you can do, and living and the people you love, that's all going to end. That provides the driving force for faith in a God. It's also a sort of cosmic loneliness. It's hard for people to accept that we are alone, outside of us. Human consciousness is essentially sealed off from other consciousness. We only know each other indirectly through the symptoms of the body, yet we yearn for contact with other people. Love is to do with that. So we are lonely in our essence. We can't escape that. So we feel this metaphysical, existential aloneness in the universe. And God is a wonderful antidote. God, we feel, directly comes into our minds, and we are directly in contact with God. This is all an illusion, and the human mind is highly susceptible to it. The abyss is inescapable. Yet, it is when this awareness takes a step back from itself, in order to view its own shining nature, no longer is it within itself shining. It is merely trying to view something not meant to be viewed of itself, but rather is meant to just be, to just shine. We, in this physical form, I would say, tend to be this awareness when it has stepped back from itself, which is why we give an answer of which way, inward or outward, the awareness shines. Sorry for rambling on. My answer to your question in short: intellectual exploration often ends in philosophy, the end station and deepest and greatest of all human reasoning. The problem is that an over-examined life is dangerous. Reflection can destroy knowledge. If you question too much, you will end up in a situation where the reasons guiding your actions lose their power to guide. When we fall back into the essence of pure awareness, we no longer try and perceive which way we are shining, for all that is known is that there is a light shining. Beautiful question, CD. Awareness shines dazzlingly, globally, both in faithful, enjoys the glowing nearness of Almighty God, even when still being on this earth. The blissful awareness in its immense glow inundates one's body and one's soul. No empty void. Hi. In the void that is empty space, there is no light. Inwardly, a light shines, the light of awareness or consciousness. In the void, there is nothing. Inwardly, we are aware. Awareness shines. Beyond the light is an inner light, and this is a spiritual light. The light of our consciousness, the light of our soul. We are aware. We see the light in our dreams. Many lights, many levels of consciousness, lights that reach from far into the void and whatever dimensions our soul has travelled through. A void entails the notion of space, thought, mind. From nothing comes something. Stillness and motion. The outer contains the inner, as the inner contains the outer. Thought contains the physical, as the physical contains thought. Pure thought and consciousness is the basis of reality. It is omnipresent. If it's a void, what is awareness doing in it? There should be nothing except quantum foam. Whatever you mean by awareness, it's something that requires a huge physical infrastructure. You don't find that in a void. The void isn't just empty of things. It is empty of space and empty of time, or outward, just suchness. I know what void means, and I know where it is. For a void, some people seem to have a lot of nonsense in there. I agree that syphilis is a common theory, insane. Or did he? Why do insects fly into the insect trap? Perhaps we are attracted to it because insanity is close to genius. Or, as the mathematician says in Darren Aronofsky's film, Pi, edge, but that is where it happens. The thing about Nietzsche's writing is that it is open to interpretation. And as he says in Ecce Homo, his last book, only if you have been raised to rule the world for several generations, understand me. Or in Beyond Good and Evil, only if you live in the Alps can you truly understand this book. What to do when dogs stare into your eyes? Evening times are significant in the daily lives of all creatures, big and small. Hues of brightly dashes of cloud upon the skies, of sobering feelings, the time when birds return home, when travellers stop for their nightly rest, when it is the sweet smell of food, mixed with the familiar sounds and sights of home. Take us to the world of our dreams, realised here on earth. But the evening times cast a spell on me. They make my mind spell out the anguish of its day and of the days of the past. When I return back to my place, after wandering through yet another fruitless day, I encounter the void that I managed to hide behind the activities of the day, behind people, places, and things. But in the evening, I cannot escape. I can run from its pointlessness, but it overwhelms me, undetected. I used to dread that pointlessness, college, and emptiness of my thoughts when I used to read. But now, I dread my mind, so engulfed by that void. I do not see that there is much in the language to describe such things, other than the words like nothingness or absence. Is a want, an absence, in fact, a presence of another kind, something that keeps me in a state between wakefulness and half sleep, unable to think to myself during the night. I often feel as if the void is thinking with me, with all the ferocity of its meaninglessness and confusion. I might have gotten the books muddled up. I've read so many. Homo sapiens have got to where they are by never accepting the status quo, always striving for the future. It's what makes us what we are. Or like the dinosaurs, we would have never progressed out of the trees. Beyond me, there is no Bodhi tree, nor stand of mirror bright. Since all is void, where can the dust alight? Concluded that I will never have a girlfriend due to facial scarring and a horrible, pathetic body. The void. What is the point of me? No friends, live alone, work alone, just my dog for company. People look at me in horror when they see my face under the low cap. I hate being looked at in that way, so I don't do people anymore. But after over 10 years of it, a man at 36 even started getting pissed off at love scenes in movies, genuinely angry and bitter. Why the fuck is that not me? Smoke weed. In my experience, the only void I'm consciously aware of. My consciousness shifts to and from. Peace. Nice to see you, Cosmic. The biblical writers didn't, of course, have the knowledge we have today, and wouldn't have known that the sun is a star, or that moonlight is reflected light back from the sun. They would also have thought that daylight was something spiritual that banished evil, not physical as we now know it is, nor that it travels the sun as being its source. The moon is referred to as a light in verse 16. The functions of the sun and moon may have been considered as being separate, the light from the darkness, day and night, and darkness would not have been thought of as merely the absence of light, but the presence of evil. Genesis 1:14 says, "And God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to decide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years." That passage implies that the author believed in astrology. The further we're able to see into space, the further back in time we're seeing. Light travels at 186,000 miles a second in a vacuum. So the further away an object is, the longer its light has taken us to reach us. It was when the light we now observe first travelled from that object, and that could be millions or billions of our years. The universe is finite in theory, in on itself. There's no boundary between the universe and outside it. Whether there can be such a thing as outside the universe, well, anyway. So if we were able to see along the whole diameter, or whatever word is appropriate, maybe we'd see the point where we are, as it was 13.7 billion years ago. We probably could never see that far, or anywhere near it. The universe formed following expansion and opening up of some spatial dimensions, and researchers seeking answers about how the universe was some billionths of a second after the Big Bang, notably the Large Hadron Collider at CERN. We might have to continue to have the humility to admit that we don't know everything for a very long time, perhaps forever. So the universe wasn't eternal looking back, or the Big Bang anyway. Whether it will be carrying on expanding and resemble a void in several billions of years more remains to be seen, or not, if it's devoid of light, or indeed of creatures to detect any light. One way to define time is by saying that it's motion through space. Before the expansion of the universe started, completely three of them for the universe to be the way that it could lead to our existence. Motion and therefore time started, and Professor Stephen Hawking likens asking people what happened before the Big Bang to asking what's further north than the North Pole. The expansion mightn't have needed a cause, but if it did, that cause is part of the universe. Void is a theoretical absence of everything. Time. I don't think you could describe it properly by saying it is eternal. Would we all be happier without the media creating stories to fill the void? They always focus on the negative, stir things up with a little proof. What happened to semi-unbiased reportage? No, there is a sizable number of people who need their comics. Within that group is another sizable group that needs their opinions made up for them. I think there are only 7 global networks that broadcast the news, and they all dance to the same tune. You will never find any real news on there. I remember watching 9/11 on the BBC, showing a live feed to Burning Tower No. 1 as it happened. They reported another plane hitting, 30 seconds before it actually did. What the fuck? You will need to be very careful in the future of what you believe. The US of civilians being filmed and interviewed by US military during tests conducted offshore. With modern processing of images and voice, you can make a statement by anyone on TV by computer-generated images and voice. The real person may never be heard. Have you not discovered the link of Union Media and Union Hollywood to a union candidate? Obama is a unionizer. Hollywood and the media have collaborated to be his public relations agent. We're now living in a world of corrupt media and government that's perpetuating a groupthink. Mold the young, and they are yours. The spoon-fed from the time they start kindergarten. George Orwell's 1984, where Winston says he won't become one of them, yet through the process of being culturized, he slowly slips into brain dead and doesn't even realize it. Welcome to now. Obama can't say he's not involved because I'm on his mailing list. He is a thug from the Chicago Union Godfathers. From the head down. So boycotting Hollywood will crap news media that try to destroy a famous candidate. I'm even felt compelled to do in the past, to country first. The void isn't a thing in itself. It's the opposite. It is simply what is not.